A fine home is often judged by what can be seen, the stone, the joinery, the view beyond the glass. Yet the most consequential element is the one no guest notices at all. Every day, a residence supplies its occupants with roughly 12,000 liters of air. It does so in bedrooms, studies, kitchens, and dressing rooms, whether the mechanical design is considered or not. That is why whole home air purification deserves to be treated as infrastructure, not as a handsome appliance placed beside an armchair. Light may set the daily rhythm, but air is the constant condition of living. The question is not whether a home has an expensive filter. The question is whether the building can deliver clean, balanced, quietly refreshed air wherever its inhabitants sleep, work, and recover. A portable purifier can be useful. It can improve the air close to the machine, and a good one has its place in a temporary room or during a particular event. But a whole residence is governed by a larger set of facts. Air follows ductwork, pressure differences, and gaps in the envelope. It enters through an intake that may sit too near a motor cord. It may pass around a poorly seated filter rather than through it. Genuine whole home purification begins with a boundary, a pathway, and a result that can be checked. It considers the fabric of the building, the route of fresh air, the integrity of every filter housing, and the way rooms are actually occupied. The evidence points towards a disciplined, rather unglamorous approach. A double-blind crossover study published in the Journal of Exposure Science and Environmental Epidemiology found meaningful reductions in indoor fine particulate matter and in personal exposure when true HEPA filtration was used. Harvard's COGFX research found substantially stronger cognitive function scores in enhanced ventilation conditions, while properly noting that its work concerned office environments. It is that measurable exposure, ventilation, and concentration that deserve attention in the rooms where a household spends long, quiet hours. The Well Building Standard recommends MERV 13 or higher for systems handling outdoor air. For a serious residence, that is a sensible floor, not an extravagant finish line.
Before equipment is ordered, demand a measured baseline. For at least a week, log fine and coarse particulates, carbon dioxide, total volatile organic compounds, formaldehyde, and relative humidity in the rooms that matter most. Bedrooms deserve priority. A single reading taken on a pleasant afternoon can flatter almost any system. The revealing moment is often 4 in the morning, when a closed principal bedroom has been occupied for hours. It is how one separates an impressive specification from a useful one. The same measurements should be taken after the work is commissioned, in the same rooms and under comparable conditions. Because air is invisible, it is unusually vulnerable to quiet value engineering. A meter used patiently is a far better safeguard than a promise made during a showroom presentation. Then come the essentials. Every air handler should carry MERV 13 filtration at a minimum, with true HEPA treatment on the recirculating path serving sleeping zones where the design allows. The word true matters. Particulate media alone, however, is only half the story. Gases and odors require activated carbon in a meaningful quantity, measured in kilograms rather than suggested by a faint coating on a pleated panel. Carbon helps deal with the volatile compounds associated with finishes, adhesives, cleaning products, and fragrance. The quietly luxurious result is not a house that smells perfumed, it is a house that smells of nothing at all. In practical terms, that absence is often noticed before a technical specification is ever discussed. Fresh air must be controlled as carefully as recirculated air. A tightly sealed home without a considered supply of filtered outdoor air may achieve very good particulate readings while carbon dioxide rises overnight. Properly sized energy recovery ventilation can introduce fresh air efficiently while recovering energy that would otherwise be lost. The intake position is crucial. Humidity belongs in the same conversation. A target between 40 and 60% supports comfort and helps avoid conditions that encourage dust mites, mold, and unwanted growth within the very systems intended to protect the house. Filtration without humidity control is incomplete. Air that is beautifully filtered but painfully dry or persistently damp still asks too much of the people inside.
The contrast becomes especially clear in demanding climates. Imagine an alpine chalet at altitude, full after a day's skiing, with fires lit and bedrooms occupied by guests unused to the mountain air. The challenge is not simply to remove particulate from a wood stove. It is to maintain comfortable moisture, deliver sufficient fresh air, and make every system quiet enough to leave running overnight. Now consider a desert residence with vigorous cooling and immaculately clean filters, but air so dry that the building feels harsh despite its immaculate finish. It is an integrated sequence of air handling, humidity control, filtration, and calibration. In severe climates, the 9 pillars do not behave as separate luxuries. Air, thermal comfort, light, and sleep are one connected design question. This is why the plant room deserves a more prominent place in the design conversation. A substantial whole-home system may require high-efficiency filtration on every air handler, HEPA and carbon where it matters most, fresh air ventilation, humidity management, controls, duct sealing, and commissioning. The complexity lies in capacity, access, duct geometry, acoustic treatment, and the labor required to make the details function together. A listed house with shallow voids and precious plaster ceilings presents a different proposition from a newer residence with generous service space. The ongoing responsibility matters just as much. Filters load, carbon becomes spent, and controls need inspection. A modest system maintained with care is a far better investment than an elaborate one forgotten behind a locked plant room door. Clean outdoor air is an asset, but it does not absolve a home of its own responsibility. Cooking, candles, fires, pets, cleaning products, and newly installed finishes all affect indoor conditions. A rural bedroom can sit beside excellent outdoor air and still grow stale overnight when the windows are closed. A beautiful open-plan kitchen can produce a sudden fine particulate event when a pan is seared beneath extraction chosen chiefly for smell. It is an argument for a complete pathway. Good extraction, filtered fresh air, appropriate recirculation, and a route for bedroom ventilation allow a home to remain both quiet and comfortable, even when a January evening makes open windows an unappealing solution. Nature outside is a gift. Building performance inside is still a duty.
There is wisdom in being cautious about fashionable air technology. Ionizers and systems that may produce ozone deserve close scrutiny. Ultraviolet equipment with too little contact time or photocatalytic devices supported mainly by chamber demonstrations should not displace proven mechanical methods. The dependable work is done by excellent filters, substantial carbon, controlled fresh air, sensible humidity, and a distribution path that does not leak or roar. Acoustic serenity is important here. An air handler that disturbs a bedroom will be turned down at night, no matter how impressive its laboratory rating. Air excellence also connects directly to material purity, because better material choices reduce the burden placed on every filter. The house should be designed as a whole, not as a collection of expensive remedies. The ambition is beautifully simple. Not a residence that advertises its machinery, but one that stops making demands on the people within it. The best air system does not announce itself through a draft, a scent, or a fan heard from the corridor. It allows people to sleep, wake, and work without thinking about the conditions that made those ordinary pleasures easier. For anyone considering a wider longevity home program, the place to begin is an honest audit. Measure what the residence is delivering, examine the route from intake to bedroom, and build a prioritized plan before buying equipment. Explore the 9 pillars of wellness design at onlifesbreath.com or begin with the Whole Home Air Purification Journal. In a truly considered home, the most important luxury may be the one no one needs to mention.